Hello everyone, how are you? I hope that you are all doing great. This is our 10th lecture in semester 1, week 13. In this lecture we're going to cover comprehension and phonics. Are you ready? Let's start. So as usual, what will you be able to do at the end of this lecture? At the end of this lecture, you'll be able to introduce the vocabulary words through context clues, identify the problem solution in a story, identify a realistic fiction story, and recognize and read words with different spelling of long U sound. What about starting with the phonics part, words with U, U, and O? So, in the phonics part this time, we're going to cover words with different sounds with different U sounds that have different spelling. Let's start. Words with letter U have several pronunciations and spelling patterns. So we have different sounds, different pronunciations, and different spelling patterns. We mean they are written in different ways. You got introduced earlier to the short and long sounds that the vowel U makes. And we said that when the vowel is saying its name, it is a long vowel as in unicorn. Okay? But what about these special sounds of letter U? Let's see. What is the difference between U, U, and in pronunciation and spelling? The first one, the pronunciation of the long U sound is the same as its name. Here, when you find this letter U with a dash over it, it makes the sound U, U, okay? Long U sound. So it says its name. Examples. First spelling pattern is when I have long U spelled as U only. So the U stands alone, as in union, union. So here the letter U, okay, it stands alone and it says its name. So it takes the sound U. The second spelling pattern is when I have U, consonant, then silent E at the end of the word, like cute, cute. I have U, consonant, then silent E at the end. The third spelling pattern, long U spelled U-E, long U sound spelled U-E, okay? As in clue, clue, you, okay? The fourth spelling pattern, long U spelled E-W, E-W. When I have E-W, together they make the sound U, as in few. Now we move to the second pronunciation. This is a relaxed vowel sound where the muscles in the mouth, including the tongue, are somehow relaxed while pronouncing this vowel. And it has only one spelling pattern, which is the double O. Examples: book, hook, foot. Okay? Book, hook, foot. So here I have different pronunciation, and look, the U here has like a circle over it. This shows that I have the relaxed vowel sound. Book. We move to the third pronunciation. This is a tense vowel sound where the muscles in the mouth, including the tongue, are tight while pronouncing this vowel. How? Like this. Ooh, ooh, like tuna. Okay? Plume, tuna, plume, prove, booth, cruise. Okay? So, if you notice here that I have 5 different spelling patterns. The first spelling pattern is when I have the U that stands alone in the middle of the word, tuna. The second spelling pattern is when I have U, consonant E, like plume. The third spelling pattern is when I have O, consonant silent E, like prove. The fourth spelling pattern is when I have double O, booth, ooh. And the last spelling pattern, which is UI, as in cruise. So I have three different pronunciations with different spelling patterns for the U vowel sound. Oo, U, and U. Let's have a look over these long U words. Tuna, tuna. Listen carefully. Tuna. Duty, duty. Lose, few. Doom, bamboo. Soothe, crooks. Hoof, hooks. Booth, handbook. Prove, mute, amuse. Plume, hue, view. Bruise, and union. What do we mean by doom? Doom means ruin, to ruin something. Few, when we say few, we mean little. Soothe is calm, means calm. Prove, to prove something, to show. Duty means job. Amuse means entertain. Let's continue. Hoof, you see the leg of the horse, the steel on it, we call it hoof. This is the hook. This is the hook. And this is the booth. Booth. Okay, like a cabin or a small room, let's say, for example, where you must do a certain thing quickly and you finish. A handbook. It's like a copybook. You write notes on it. Plume. Hue. When I have many colors or several colors with each other. Bruise. You see the bruise on the human's hand. Lose. When you lose something, you cannot find it. Bamboo. Bamboo. This is the green plant that the panda eats. Union. It's like to come together, to make a union. Crooks, crooks, thieves. Mute, that has no sound. And view, when you look in front of you see a view, okay? Like what your sight can capture. Let's go over this exercise quickly. Underline the 6 misspelled words in the paragraphs below. Write the words correctly on the lines. Okay, here to check our understanding for the long U words, they write words wrongly in the paragraph and we have to underline them and correct them on the lines. Our yard has only few trees. Okay, here there is a misspelled word which is a few. The big maple tree is back is my favorite. Here there is no misspelled word. I have a good view of it from my room. View is a misspelled word. In the fall, the maple leaves change color. They turn a beautiful red hue. Hue is a misspelled word. Before long, the tree begins to lose its colorful leaves. Lose is also a misspelled word. I often amuse myself by collecting maple tree leaves to display in my room. Here amuse is a misspelled word. It is also my duty to rake the leaves. Duty is a misspelled word. I don't mind spending time under my tree. It's not a problem. I do not have any other misspelled words. Okay, so what's wrong in few? Few is spelled as F-E-W. View is spelled as V-I-E-W. Hue is spelled as H-U-E. Lose is spelled as L-O-S-E. Amuse is spelled as A-M-U-S-E. Duty is spelled as D-U-T-Y. Guys, in order to keep the spelling words in your mind at home, copy them, let someone do them as a dictation for you, maybe as individual words, maybe in sentences. So you have to practice writing and reading the words in order for the words to stick to your mind. Okay, so I hope that every time we're taking phonics, the group of words that we have in our lecture, you study it as a dictation at home. Okay, so now it's time to move to the comprehension part. So are you excited to start a new story? Okay, I hope so. But first of all, we have to start with the new vocabulary words. Let's start with the words one by one. The first word is accomplish. With the grandpa's help, I was able to accomplish my project more quickly. So here when we say accomplish, we mean to finish a certain task or a certain job. The second word is anxious. Anxious. Rita was anxious about the research project, so she checked many sources. Look at the girl in the picture. How does she look? She looks worried. That's right, or nervous. Yeah, that's what we mean by anxious. Anxious is when you're worried or you're not feeling calm. Okay, you're nervous, so you feel anxious. Assemble. Assemble. When all the students assemble in the room, we will begin the play. So what do you think we mean by assemble here? When all the students assemble in the room, they gather in the room, they are in the room. Decipher. Decipher. The archaeologists had to decipher the code in the rock drawings. If you know that long ago they used the drawings to contact with each other. So they didn't use like letters or language, they used the drawings. So nowadays archaeologists have to decipher these drawings, okay? Since they are unclear, okay, when there's something unclear and you need to understand, you have to make it clearer. So you have to decipher it. So they want to discover the meaning of the drawings, for example, or to get a meaning out of something. So when we say decipher, we mean you have to get the meaning of something that is unclear. Distracted. When my friend distracted my attention, her dog swiped my frozen treat. So if you notice that the girl is not paying attention to the dog, so the dog ate her treat, so she was distracted. Someone we can say that they stole, or someone stole her attention. So someone drew away her attention, the girl's attention, we mean distracted her. Navigate. Navigate. We used a map to help navigate our way around the park. So navigate, we mostly use it for a way, to move on a certain way. Okay, so to navigate our way around the park is to move on or to move over or through a certain way. Okay. Options. Options. The grocery store offered many different vegetable options. If you notice in the picture, we have several types of vegetables. So we have several options, different choices. Retrace. Retrace. Carl was able to retrace his footsteps to find his way home. So retrace is like, for example, to go back over something. When you retrace, you go back over something. So here Carl wants to go back home or to find his way home, so he retraced. He went back over his footsteps, okay, to find the correct way. So accomplish we mean to complete it successfully, to complete something successfully. Accomplish. Anxious, nervous or worried. Assemble, come together. Decipher, figure out a meaning of something. Distracted, drew attention away. Navigate, find your way through an area or a way. We mean a way or a street, for example. Options, choices. retrace, go back over your steps. Let's practice a little bit the vocabulary words. Why not? Fill in the blanks with the suitable words from the vocabulary words for me. It was an night as she waited for her children to come home. So when a mother is waiting for her children to come home, how would she feel? Anxious. It was an anxious night. I carefully considered before continue doing something, so I have to consider my options. You might find your ticket if your steps back to the car. So here you lost something and you want to find it, so you have to go back and remember what you did. So you have to retrace your steps back. All of her old photos in 3 albums. She put the photos together in an album, so she assembled. When teenagers text, they use secret codes most parents cannot decipher. So the codes that the teenagers use, the parents do not understand them, so they cannot decipher them. You can decide by subject or by alphabet. So you can search or go or move through this site. So you can navigate this site by subject or by alphabet. You can anything if you believe in it. If you believe in something, you can finish anything. So you can finish something successfully. Don't talk to her. She's very easily distracted. So if you talk to her, she can easily be distracted. Okay, now let's move to our big question or weekly concept, this time trial and error. When we say trial and error, we mean we're trying something and we face a problem. Okay, so the essential question here says, what can lead us to rethink an idea? What could lead us to think again about a certain idea? Maybe an obstacle, maybe a problem? Yes, that's right. On second thought, before trying out a new idea, we first learn all we can in order to get the desired result. If we do not accomplish the goal, we work to figure out what caused the problem. So when we have to try a new idea, we have to learn about it first, but sometimes if we cannot accomplish the goal, then there is a problem. And when we face a problem, we have to search for a solution for this problem. Okay? Let's watch this video to understand more the big concept.
What can lead us to rethink an idea?
Trial and error. What can lead us to
get an idea to work, people have to experiment. For example, people have always wanted to fly. Inventors experimented with many designs. They made attempts and learned from their mistakes until the Wright brothers finally succeeded. The process of trial and error of early inventors paved the way for the success of an entire aircraft industry. But new ideas don't end there. What will the next big innovation be? Maybe it will be yours.
What will the next big innovation be? Maybe it will be yours.
So whenever we have an idea or a goal we want to accomplish, we have to try to accomplish it in different ways at the beginning, but sometimes we might face obstacles or problems, and whenever we find an obstacle or a problem that prevents us from reaching our goal, we have to think again about the problem and try to find the solution for each problem. Now let's start with our story and see what the problem that this family would face and how would they solve it. White water adventure. I don't know about you, but I never pictured my family on a whitewater rafting vacation in Colorado. We had tried rafting several times before with instructors and guides. All of us liked it. I come from a family of excellent athletes, and I sometimes have to work hard at holding my own. I didn't even mind when my sister Marta, who is 14, kept correcting my technique. Because she's 3 years older, Marta believes it's her mission in life to make sure I do everything perfectly. Nina, hold your paddle this way. Nina, plant your feet firmly. She corrects. Honestly, sometimes she's full of herself, although I guess she means well. That morning, Dad had us assemble our equipment as we had learned. He then took us through his checklist. Only Dad could read his checklist because his handwriting was so hard to decipher. Paddles, check. Helmets, check. Life jackets, check. Buckets, check. Until everything was accounted for. Then we boarded our raft for our second solo trip and headed down the beautiful Colorado River. Mom had mapped out our route, a novice's course with just enough white water to make it exciting. It felt great to navigate the raft, paddling in rhythm with everyone else. Dad and I sat in the rear or stern of the raft. Mom and Marta sat in the front or the bow. From time to time, waves slapped against the sides of the raft, spraying water in our faces. Suddenly, I was distracted by a bear coming out of the trees, but it turned around and began to retrace its steps. All of us must have been distracted by that bear because, in the blink of an eye, we ran into a problem. Our raft came to a complete halt. "What's wrong?" I asked, hoping I didn't sound nearly as anxious as I felt. "Yikes!" exclaimed Mom. "We're stuck on some rocks." "Maybe a river guide will come by and give us a shove," suggested Marta. However, there wasn't a soul in sight. She tried shouting, "Hello out there!" All we heard back was an echo. To make matters worse, storm clouds were gathering. The last thing we needed now was a rainstorm. "Don't worry, folks. I know what we can do," said Dad. "It's the front of the raft that's stuck. So let's all sit in the stern. Our weight will probably shift the raft off the rocks." Carefully, Mom and Marta moved to the rear. Nothing happened. "Let's try swaying from side to side," urged Mom, looking up at the darkening sky. So we swayed and swayed, but the raft didn't move an inch. Dad even tried jumping a couple of times. But that didn't work either. Now it started to drizzle, and although no one wanted to admit it, we were running out of options. "Wait!" I yelled. I thought back to our rafting lessons. "What if we tried to lift the side of the raft away from the rocks?" I asked hesitantly. "Quick, let's try it," said Mom. We went to the front of the raft and lifted the side away from the rocks. Then we heard a little popping noise. We held our breath. Did we tear the raft?" cried Marta. "No, we broke the suction between the raft and the rocks," said Dad, as he pushed off the rocks with his paddle. "We did it," yelled Marta. "I mean, you did it, Nina. That was truly brilliant." "Good thinking, Nina," cheered Mom and Dad. By this time, it was raining steadily, so we paddled really hard to return to land and wait indoors for the rain to stop. And how was I feeling? It's kind of hard to describe. I was on cloud 9. I felt like I could accomplish anything I wanted. So guys, I hope that you have enjoyed the story, and I hope that you have figured out the problem that the family faced and how they solved it. But if you notice that they have tried several ways before reaching the correct solution for the problem. They even tried 3 ways to solve their problem, but they didn't work until the 4th time they reached the solution and they accomplished their goal. Okay? Now we move to the genre of the story, which is realistic fiction. It's something that we have covered before. Just let's refresh our minds about the realistic fiction, especially here in our story, Whitewater Adventure. So when we say realistic fiction story, it tells about characters and events that resembles people and events in real life. We mean it's a made-up story. It's not a real story, but the characters' events could happen in real life. Okay? It also may contain adventure involving actions that characters must take in order to reach a goal. So also a realistic fiction, since we said it's realistic fiction, so it might happen in real life. So it could be about an adventure, and the adventure involves actions or events that the characters take in order to accomplish something. Also, it may also contain dialogue, and most of the times it contains dialogues and descriptive details that help create suspense or help the reader imagine the story in front of him or her. So the realistic fiction is a made-up story, but it has characters and events that could be real, that could happen in real life. It also may contain adventure, including actions in order to reach a goal, and it also contains a dialogue and descriptive details. Problem solution. Now we move to our skill. This time is a problem solution, when we face a problem in a story and we have to find the solution to this problem. The plot of a story usually has a problem that the main character or characters must solve. As here in our story, Whitewater Adventure, the family faced a certain problem and they had to solve it. What the characters want to do or change, the thing that the characters want to change, is called the problem. The way the problem is solved, the way the characters are trying to solve the problem, is called the solution. So the problem is usually introduced at the beginning of the story, and the solution is usually presented at the end. Sometimes characters must make several attempts, several trials, to try different ways before they are able to solve the problem. And the last idea here in our lecture is idioms. Idioms. What do we mean by idioms? I'm just going to go over it briefly. An idiom is an expression that cannot be understood from the meanings of the individual words in it. Or in other words, it's an expression, but it doesn't literally mean what the words say. Example, don't make a mountain out of a molehill is an example of an idiom. What do we mean by don't make a mountain? Would we make a mountain out of a hill? No, don't make a big deal out of a small thing. When we say don't make a mountain out of a molehill, we mean that don't make a big deal or a big problem out of a small thing. Authors include idioms to make their writing more interesting. So when you find idioms, or when you're writing a story, it's better if you use idioms in order to make your writing more interesting. Okay? For example, here, when I read the end of the first paragraph on page 37, I see an idiom. What is the idiom? Let's see. Nina, hold your paddle this way. Nina, plant your feet firmly. She corrects. Honestly, sometimes she is full of herself. Although I guess she means well. She is full of herself is an idiom. In the sentences here, Martha is always correcting Nina as if Martha thinks of herself as an expert. So this means she is full of herself. She thinks that she is an expert. She knows everything. So the idiom she's full of herself means she thinks she knows everything. Okay guys, I hope that you have understood everything from the lecture. Now it's time to go and try solving the worksheet. In case there's something still unclear for you, try to watch the lecture again. But if it's still confusing you, wait till the live session tomorrow and we can discuss it together. Until then, stay safe and bye bye.